Today I am back with another Bible in my non-premium purple Bible series. This one here is the New King James Version personal size large print reference Bible, and it is the personal size Bible. I believe I said that already, sorry to repeat myself. So it is a smaller hand size Bible, very nice size. I love the purple cover, I love the flower detail in the front. This one is going to be line matched. It is going to have a verse by verse style layout. Cross references, and it is a 10.5 size font, and then it has a sewn binding. So this is not a giant print Bible. It is a larger print Bible for the size of the Bible, being it's a personal size Bible. So it's a 10.5. That's why you're going to see the large print in the label, but it is not a giant print. So just be aware of that, because I know I have some viewers who are looking for those more giant print Bibles. All right, this one has perimeter stitching. On our spine, we're going to see Holy Bible, New King James Version, and little symbol for Thomas Nelson. We're going to have two kind of silver ribbon markers and silver page gilding. Open it up, we have a paste down liner. Okay, we're going to have, I skipped over it here, but we have a table of contents. A preface to the New King James Version. Here you see fingers that don't want to turn pages properly. There we go. So now we are getting into the Old Testament. All right, so when we get into Genesis here, if my fingers will ever decide to work today, that would be wonderful. There we go. Always love that when I'm one-handed page turning. I'm like, I can't turn the page quick enough. Anyway, so this is going to be a double column verse by verse layout. As you can see, the 10.5 size font. Love the New King James Version comfort print. That's one of my favorite fonts for any Bible. So I always love to see that. And what makes this one unique is you're going to see the references at the end of the verse. So a lot of times references will be at the bottom of a page, or you will see center column references. These are going to be right in the scripture at the end of the verse. So for example, you read Genesis 7, it has a reference of Psalm 148:4, and it puts it right in the text. I like that because it's tying scripture all together, and it's giving you some, when you're reading, it's giving you some other references to go look up. I will admit that I don't use the references in my Bible probably as much as I should. I'd like to start doing that a little bit more. But when they are at the bottom of the page or even in the center, like I see them, I look at them. It's not that I don't ever use them, but I feel like I don't use them a ton or as much as I should. Whereas this being right in the text, I feel like I would use that more and reference those more since they're right there. And it kind of like stops and not, I don't want to say interrupts, but it almost like interrupts your reading. You're like, oh, there's this reference right here. Maybe I should go check that out and see what that is. So it encourages studying and understanding scripture, interpreting scripture with other scriptures, and I love that. And it kind of smacks me in the face being that it's right there in the text. So I think that's going to help me to use those references a little bit more. There are some different cover options available for this Bible as well. I know there's a Premier collection in the brown goat skin, and I feel like there's another cover option or two as well out there if you're not a big purple fan. But of course, when I saw the purple, I figured that would be a good match for me. Chapter numbers and headings are nice and bold. Like I said, it's verse by verse, so this would be a great one to take to church. If your church uses New King James Version, or even if you just like the New King James Version to carry it to church. I don't always use the same version my pastor's using, and sometimes I like to sit there and compare, like while he's reading the scripture, but I'm kind of a nerd, so maybe that's not you. But anyway, this would be a good one to take to church is what I was trying to say with that little tangent there. It's a great size. The font size is nice. Like the comfort print. And of course, those verses in there, right, the references right within the scripture is a great feature. And I think that would be great if you take it to church too and your pastor is reading a portion of scripture. Then you can go home and look up those references and do some further study as well. Because sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, you go, you listen to the sermon, you enjoy it, you soak it in, and then you go home and you forget about it. And you don't think about it, you don't apply it. So that could be a good way, mark with your ribbon markers, mark where your pastor read that day or write it down. and then you can go back and look up those references. You can do that with any reference Bible, really, but being that it's right there in the text, I think that would help me remember to do that a little more. All right, when we get to the New Testament, man, I'm on fire today, aren't I? The New Testament, you can see that it's red letter. I always say I prefer black letter, but Thomas Nelson does a really good job with their red letter, so it's not a deal breaker for me. I have several of their Bibles that are red letter that I read and enjoy. All right, let's go ahead and go to the back of the Bible. All right, once we get through Revelation, we are going to have a concordance. And then a blank page or two, and then we're going to get our maps, which are the typical maps that you see at the end of a Thomas Nelson Bible. And then we're at the end. So again, just in summary here, I like that my favorite part about this is that the references are included right within the scripture so you can see them. You know, if you're like me and you forget to look things up, you know, smack you in the face, it's right there. You can look it up right away. You can compare scripture and interpret scripture with scripture, which is always super important. Love the purple cover, of course. And then I like the New King James Version comfort print. It's a decent font size, and it is a portable Bible that you could easily carry with you, and verse by verse. So when your pastor is reading and having you look up certain verses, they're easy to find here. So again, this is the New King James Version end of verse reference Bible. It's the personal size, and I believe, a real quick note, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure when I was looking at this one on Christian Book, that there is a giant print version of this coming in 2025. I want to say it's in September. Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw that, and I think it was a 12-point font. So if you need a larger font and you like this one, I think that's coming in 2025. I will update you on that later. But this is a great Bible from Thomas Nelson. Definitely check it out.